Hi, everybody. As Ethan said, my name's Justin Rosen, SVP of Data here at Ampersand. Very glad to be with all of you guys today for what I hope is an engaging and informative conversation this afternoon. As Ethan talked about, we want to cover the entire spectrum of the TV buying process in some way with the panels we pulled together today, whether that's planning, activation, measurement, optimization, and back to the planning process from there again. The industry is relying more and more on deterministic data as the power of the industry overall, and rightfully so. Data has now become the most precious resource that marketers and publishers have at their disposal. And the most successful marketers are the ones that best understand how to use those data assets to have the most efficient and effective TV and cross-platform media plans that they can. Our understanding is growing every day of who to reach, how and where to reach them most effectively, and how to measure that plan was successful. We're no longer in the world of models and panels. We have to be precise and as deterministic as we can. That said, this new innovation has come with challenges. Fragmentation and the lack of interoperability jump to mind. Some would say that those are becoming more challenging by the day. As a result, we need to figure out how to navigate those challenges most effectively. And I think that will be one of the biggest themes that you hear during our panels that we've pulled together today. Ampersand is navigating these challenges as well. We have pulled together what we call the AND platform, which is a media and insights platform that connects the best data in the business with a multi-screen suite of inventory. With those assets, we have developed what we call a total TV approach to measurement. And we think that's the best way to start to bring that fragmented world back together and give brands, agencies, and marketers the most cohesive view of the entirety of their TV investment. So let's talk about what that means. That means pulling together into one suite of reporting your national, local, and addressable television investments with a deterministic, scaled data asset. Marketers and brands can now understand the overall reach of all of those different tactics that they have at their disposal for TV, how their national campaigns on broadcast and cable networks, how their local campaigns across broadcast and cable networks, and how their addressable campaigns are working together to drive reach and effectiveness, and how each of those tactics can overlap to show how they're working together. The reason this is so important is because to have that complete understanding is what is most necessary to be as flexible and nimble as possible. What you hear from most marketers today is the desire to stay flexible, to have options. In order to understand how to best take advantage of the options at your disposal, you need to see the bigger picture. You need to see the entirety of how all of the tactics at your disposal are actually working together, or else you won't be able to understand the complete picture. The ability to build rich audiences with first and third party data and drive real business outcomes through a measurement portfolio like what I just described is only as good as the data asset that underlies that. That's what we here at Ampersand call precision at scale. When you have an ability to reach with media over 80 million subscriber homes, when you have an addressable footprint of over 52 million homes that you can reach in an addressable television environment, when you have a data footprint of over 42 million homes that you can capture linear viewing insights, you can start to build a very large sample that allows you to get as granular as possible in how you tie together insights with media. Not only are we showing deduplication across all of our tactics, we can show how they work together. And when you have opportunities to now move your investment from one platform to another, or find audiences more effectively or efficiently in one tactic versus another, ultimately you can determine the best way to use the entirety of your own investment that you have. The large data asset is what's so critical in order to do that. That's the way that you can start to add filters to be as precise in making those decisions. Perhaps there's an audience filter. Perhaps there's a geographic filter. Perhaps there's a network day part filter that you need to operationalize. And of course, when you layer on an outcome on the back end to show that you've driven effectiveness of that campaign, that's a filter in and of itself. To have the largest possible footprint of deterministic data is the requirement to be able to have a meaningful sample in adding all of those filters together. What does that look like in practice? For example, you might be able to determine that focusing on a handful of niche or smaller networks may actually provide better or more efficient reach to your key audience than what you might have thought a larger network might have achieved. In addition, you may be able to find geographic specific insights. The way that Atlanta audiences behave are different than Alpena audiences. That's even more the case when you start to then drill into network and day part specific behaviors tied to those audiences. If we know that one audience behaves differently, we know that different geographies engage with TV in a different way, now you can pull those together. That's especially important when we know that over 2/3 of all TV viewing is happening outside of the primetime window. For marketers that follow those best practices, bringing together geographic, audience, and network day part specific insight, we've seen an improvement in performance. One advertiser we worked with was able to improve the reach of their key audience, those that intend to buy their product, by over 25% versus the market average of all homes. We've also seen in the auto category, for example, that you can drive nearly double the sales lift by targeting the audiences that you care about in this way versus linear campaigns that may not have had that level of targeting. Ultimately, with the power of Ampersand that we talked about, precision at scale, brands and agencies who embrace an audience-first approach will be the most successful. They will have the most efficient, effective, and accountable buys that are possible. Marketers who optimize successfully will improve their business outcomes. There's no more waiting around. The panelists you're going to hear from today, they aren't waiting. And I'm excited about what they're going to share with you and what we at Ampersand are working on ourselves. So let's start the conversation. I'm going to throw it back to our MC for the day, Ethan, who will kick off our first panel.